we're back. We have dug into your data for your yellow and red students because that's where we want to provide some intervention. And we're now going to take a look at what we came up with in terms of who are your students, what are their reading levels, what are their needs. Okay?
All right.
So when you look at this sheet with this data on it, what are some of the things that maybe you notice?
I noticed a lot of blank spots, and I don't really know what should be in those spots.
Okay, let's talk kid by kid. What do you notice about Matthew?
So Matthew has a blank spot under skill focus, so I don't know where to start with that student as opposed to the ones underneath him.
Okay, what do you notice about the ones underneath him?
Some have more skills to focus on than others,
Okay.
and there's quite a range of reading levels as well.
Hmm. Looking over at, so your yellow kids, you're seeing a range of, 2, 3, 4 years compared to their grade level that they're in grade nine,
Right.
correct? So you've got quite a range in there. When we come over to your red student, David, what do you see here when you're looking at this?
Also limited information, but also a major deficit in reading level.
Right.
So then I would wonder why that one is so low and there's not more information that would tell me more about him.
Hmm. So where would you go to fill in some of these gaps in information?
So in the school, to find out more about, let's say, David here, I know I could talk to literacy specialists within my school, such as Nikki,
Hmm.
or else dig into what assessments have been done for the student.
Right.
For example, a red.
Right. And when you say a red again, you talked about that your last video appearance. When you say red,
So the red testing as opposed to like the level A, or dig into their CUME file to find out a bigger picture for the student.
okay. When are these are all your students that you teach?
Correct.
What do you know about them? What are their stories that we could maybe fill in some of the gaps? What do you know about Matthew?
So I do know that he's FNMI. We have just spoken about that, and this is listed here. Um, and then as far as his skills go, I do need to dig into more data, get deeper, and give him a level A so I can even start on which skills to focus on
Do you teach him in like any of your
in
classes?
social studies.
What do you notice in social studies with Matthew?
He's doing well so far. Auditory listening, learning is seems to work well for him,
Hmm.
but his writing skills is what we've just gotten into, which seem weak,
Mm.
and that would be something that I want to learn more about. I haven't given them an essay or anything yet, but we're working up to writing skills.
So that's important. So let's type in other there on your screen that he's auditory, does better with auditory learning, that
Okay,
he struggles with writing because we know that writing is directly connected to reading, right?
correct.
What kind of accommodations do you use with him now in class or adaptations so that
We
he can be successful?
So Matthew has access to a reader or a scribe
Okay,
for when he's writing a quiz or a test.
let's put that there.
Okay.
Uses a reader scribe.
Some students actually refuse to have a reader
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, so I don't know if that's just an embarrassment thing in class, but
Right.
so far, from what I've seen from his quizzes, he's doing okay.
So I'm going to just use some red here.
Okay.
And I'm just going to put a circle here that we need some more information here. Okay. Let's just go down this list. Is there anything that you know about Josh? So he's struggling with word recognition, fluency, and vocabulary. So noticing what I'm noticing here is you've got some kids. It's not quite as simple as they have one area of um, skill gap. They've got multiple areas of skill gap. So the other thing that we're going to be thinking about when we start thinking about our groupings is how do we prioritize where to focus some of the intervention because we can't intervene on everything all at once. And so you as their teacher or getting to know how they're doing in their other classes, what the struggle might be, and where we might get some really high leverage um, intervention happening really quickly with them, right? So just keep that in mind as you're thinking about the kids. So Josh, what do you know about Josh?
Josh, um, so far what I've seen from him, uh, also weak writer.
Okay, let's put that in his other box.
Okay, and as far as this grouping goes, this would help me. So the skills that he needs to work on would help me group students similar to him that maybe you could teach a group to bring up that skill rather opposed to individually.
Would you say that you've noticed what's reported here in the data being accurate in what he does in class in terms of having problems with new vocabulary, his ability to read fluently or recognize
Yeah,
words?
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Let's talk a little bit about Lily.
Okay, Lily. So Lily, I haven't had a lot of work with other than in other someone else's classroom because she's not in my class. So
Okay.
then that would be if I were to, I would need more information on her as well.
Okay. So you're going to talk to somebody about that. What
Yeah.
about Brittany? Do you teach Brittany?
Just down to Marshall, I taught,
Okay.
and I would say that there's missing information here because I would not just limit it to the vocab and summarizing. I believe there's a much bigger picture here, and this reading level I would say is not correct as well. I would think it would be lower than that just from what I've seen from him being in my class.
So you might want to put in here, I need to reassess ASAP.
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you.
What about David? Do you teach David?
No.
Okay, so you've already said that you need to look at in his other info box that you need to take a look at the red file because you think that there should be some other assessment there, right?
Yes.
So you might want to just make a note for yourself here that you need some more information on other assessments done. Certainly, when we think at grade 9 reading at a grade 3 level, and we think about triaging, how do we support him best to be successful in all of his core classes? Um, we might think, okay, so not that we're going to give up on improving his reading skills, but certainly we need to be able to also have him access content. And how are we going to do that auditorily through Read Write Gold, those kind of things, right? So that, do you know, you'll want to know more information about how is he being accommodated or adapted in class, right? So you might want to get information on that as well.
Right.
Do you think he has an IPP?
Definitely.
So check his IPP too, right? Okay, so we're gonna take a look at this now, and we're gonna talk about groupings because you've already said you can see some common themes running through here. And if you were thinking just off the top of your head, looking at some of this information, what's one group, a skill group that you could put these together? Because instead of looking at kids based on their skill or their reading level and trying to provide support, we really want to be as specific as possible because our interventions need to be kind of hard and fast and reassessed quite frequently so that we know we're making a difference, right? And we know how to respond. What would you do for groupings right off the bat?
So just off looking off the screen, I would start off with vocabulary.
For who?
It's a commonality across a few students here, such as Brittany and Carson and Marshall. So if you could group these students together, you could teach a lesson that would possibly, hopefully, improve their skill of all three at once rather
Right.
than individually.
You have Josh and Lily as well, right? That
Oh,
have
that was just out of
vocabularies.
order. Yeah.
So the other thing is thinking about, okay, what comes first? Do we build word recognition and fluency decoding skills first, or do we build skills first, right? So I think it was really great that you're going to talk to other teachers to find out how they're struggling, like where are their struggles in their other classes as well.
And then the other thing that you could do that I do is go to the reading framework to find out which skills build off of one another to have a good starting point.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right. And if you're a teacher working with kids and you're not sure about what is the problem, I've listened to them read, but I don't really know where to start, there's the if then too, right? That's a great resource as well. Okay,